Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into a super practical topic that, honestly, almost every single homeowner thinks about the second our weather starts heating up. We're setting the stage to answer the ultimate question for San Diego homeowners. Does a new roof actually lower your energy bills? And, more importantly, if it does, by exactly how much? We're going to cut right through all the marketing fluff today and look directly at the actual mechanics of how your roof impacts your wallet.
Okay, let's dive into this. We are going to immediately tackle this burning question right head on. Look, you're considering a major home investment, and you naturally want to know if it's going to actually pay you back every month on your utility statement, right? Well, the short answer is yes. But it is absolutely critical to understand what that yes actually looks like in reality, rather than just relying on, best case scenario guesswork.
So here is the honest bottom line right up front. Most homeowners see roughly a 7 to 15% reduction in their summer cooling costs when they upgrade their roof. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That percentage might sound just a bit modest on paper, but hey, remember where we live. San Diego Gas and Electric, or SDG&E, runs some of the absolute highest electricity rates in the entire country. Because of those premium rates, a 10% reduction on a $300 summer cooling bill isn't just some fun statistic. It is real, tangible money staying right there in your pocket month after month. To understand exactly where those savings come from, we really have to look at the root of the problem. Picture a dark, worn, aging roof on a scorching hot San Diego summer afternoon. That surface isn't just sitting there minding its own business, it is actively absorbing heat. In fact, it can easily hit absolutely scorching temperatures of 150 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit. It effectively acts like a giant radiator strapped to the top of your house, pumping all that intense, baked-in heat straight down into your attic space, which is, of course, literally the exact opposite of what you want in July. The solution to this giant radiator is what the industry calls a cool roof. A cool-rated roof basically works using two specific properties. First up is solar reflectance, which basically means it bounces incoming sunlight right off the surface before it can even be absorbed. Second is thermal emittance, which is a fancy way of saying how quickly the roof releases whatever heat it does manage to absorb. When you have both high reflectance and high emittance working together, man, this roof can run a massive 50 to 60 degrees cooler than a standard dark roof sitting under the exact same sun. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how the heat transfer process actually works in your home. I want you to think of it like a giant heat chain with 4 distinct links. Before heat ever shows up on your energy bill, it has to get past step 1, your roof surface. Then it has to push through step 2, the attic air. Next is step 3, your ceiling insulation. And finally, step 4. It has to literally outpace your air conditioner's ability to cool the house. Your energy use is the final result of this entire chain working together. Which brings us to a really vital reality check. Upgrading to a cool roof only weakens that very first link in the chain. It significantly reduces the heat at the surface, which is fantastic, don't get me wrong. But if you have severely degraded attic insulation, or say your air conditioner is 20 years old and totally undersized, you are essentially leaving energy savings on the table. You just won't fully capture the financial benefits of that cooler attic if the rest of your systems are failing. Plus, your physical address completely changes the math here. San Diego is famous for its microclimates, right? If you live in coastal neighborhoods like Del Mar or La Jolla, your climate naturally stays milder for most of the year. And because you run your air conditioning way less to begin with, your overall energy savings will naturally be milder. Contrast that with inland homes in places like El Cajon, Santee, or Escondido. Inland homes are running their AC units much harder through the summer and fall, which means a cool roof has a way larger heat load to work against, allowing those folks to capture significantly higher dollar savings. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how clearly this data maps out your expectations based strictly on where you live. Take a quick second to find your zip code's area in this matrix. If you're upgrading from a dark, worn roof that's maybe 15 plus years old and you live on the coast, you're looking at a cooler attic and roughly 5 to 10% lower cooling costs. But look down at those inland homes, that exact same upgrade pushes the savings dial up to roughly 10% to 15% lower costs, all because of that heavier AC usage we just talked about. Oh, and there is another fantastic way to accelerate the financial return of this project. Periodically, SDG&E and the state of California actually offer specific rebates and incentives tied to installing qualifying energy-efficient roofing materials. When you stack a nice upfront rebate against those ongoing 7% to 15% monthly savings we mentioned, the entire project pencils out much, much faster. It genuinely transforms what might seem like a modest monthly cut into a highly sensible financial decision. So Let's look at how this builds into the specific choices you have to make as a homeowner, because, not every roof replacement captures the exact same benefit. To get to the high end of that savings range, you absolutely have to nail these 5 critical factors during your installation: material and color, your attic ventilation, radiant barriers, the specific roof type, and strict code compliance. Let's just break these down one by one. Starting with material and color, even within the specialized category of cool-rated products, lighter shades simply outperform darker colors in our San Diego climate. A cool-rated dark shingle is absolutely better than a standard dark shingle, for sure. But a lighter-colored cool-rated shingle is going to maximize that solar reflectance and bounce the absolute most heat away from your home. Next is the step that homeowners skip most often, and honestly, it breaks my heart: attic ventilation. Look, you can put the most reflective, high-tech roof in the world over your head, but if your attic is poorly vented, it will just bake that trapped heat right into your home anyway. Just, slightly less of it. Proper intake and exhaust venting is absolutely mandatory. It allows the hot air that does inevitably build up to actually escape your house, rather than soaking right through your ceiling. Now, if you're doing a full roof tear-off right down to the wood deck, you have a golden opportunity to add a radiant barrier. This is a relatively small line item in the grand scheme of a roofing budget, but man, it acts as a powerful second layer of defense. It sits right under the roof deck and literally bounces heat away before it ever even has a chance to reach your attic space. It's a real game changer. The type of roof you install also changes the equation. For example, traditional concrete and clay tile roofs naturally run a bit cooler than standard asphalt because there's a physical airspace beneath the tiles that actually allows heat to dissipate. And if you happen to have a flat or low-slope roof, which is super common on San Diego editions, a white flat membrane system, commonly known as TPO, is widely considered the gold standard. It sits at the absolute high end of available solar reflectance. So the crucial point is, you might actually be required to make these upgrades anyway. California has notoriously strict building codes, specifically the Title 24 standards. If you are doing a major re-roof that replaces more than 50% of your existing roof covering in San Diego, Title 24 likely mandates that you use cool roof-rated materials. The whole shebang is designed specifically to lower the energy grid's burden during those brutal hot summer months. Now, a really common trap homeowners fall into is wanting to wait. They think, well, I'll just wait until I have the budget to do the roof, the insulation, and the AC all at the exact same time so I get all the savings at once. Please, whatever you do, do not do this if your current roof is actively leaking or way past its lifespan. A failing roof causes immediate, highly expensive water damage to your home's overall structure. The most practical rule of thumb is always this: fix what is actively failing first to protect the home, and then layer in those other efficiency upgrades as your budget allows. And honestly, this highlights the most radically transparent takeaway from our source material today. You almost never undertake a massive re-roofing project purely for the energy savings. The true primary value of a new roof is stopping active leaks, protecting the structural integrity of your house, meeting modern safety codes, and supporting your home's resale value. The lower energy bills, think of them as a very real, very genuine, and highly appreciated bonus on top of a job you basically needed to do anyway. But seriously, don't discount that bonus. You have to think about this investment over the long haul. A properly installed new roof has a lifespan of 20+ years. When you consistently shave roughly 10% off your summer cooling costs every single year for over 2 decades, that math genuinely adds up. Homeowners who go into this with a long-term, realistic mindset almost always come away incredibly satisfied with their investment. Ultimately, there's one final question for you to consider. Is it time to inspect your home's heat chain? If your roof is aging out, don't just guess at the numbers. Getting a professional inspection of your roof, your attic ventilation, and your insulation is the absolute best way to see exactly what a cool roof would realistically save at your specific San Diego address. Thank you so much for joining me as we unpack today's source material, and hey, here's to keeping your home cool and your bills low.